Hey, welcome everyone. This is the So Random and Weird podcast you're listening to. Welcome everyone. I'm Sarah,
And I'm Sheena.
and we're just coming to you today to talk about history, my
Ew.
favorite topic. I love history. And as I shared before, I am going to be talking about one of my favorite people of all time, Mary Virginia Wade, aka Jenny Wade.
I forgot
So
her name was
I,
Mary.
oh yeah. Well, I mean, that was her birth name, and she went by, or supposedly she went by a couple nicknames, Ginny, or Jenny. Not really sure if it was. I mean, obviously Ginny because of Virginia,
Right.
but
But you
I
know
always
that
kind of wondered
Pennsylvania
about the
accent.
Jenny. Yeah, that's why I was always kind of wondering about like the Jenny part because um there's never really that I have found there's never been any real like clarification as to why it's Jenny, but um maybe just a nickname, who knows, but at least definitely Ginny because of Virginia, and of course Mary was her mother's name, so that was probably a family name, but all right. So you're doing good though before we get into
Well, our new year has already started with a dumpster fire. So, well,
what the
our president.
at your apartment built? Oh, yeah. I thought you meant like a legit like, at your, apartment complex or something. Oh my gosh.
No, I'm talking about the world. Woke
Yeah.
up yesterday
Yeah.
to another dumpster fire.
Yeah, no, that was yeah, we need a whole hour, to discuss that disaster.
Or not.
All right. I hope we can just, move on and like, yeah. All right. So, Mary Virginia Wade. So, Jenny Wade has the distinct title of being the only civilian killed during the Battle of Gettysburg during the Civil War, which in itself is actually pretty amazing because in the entire 5 year reign of the war, it's estimated there were about 50,000 casualties, civilian casualties during the Civil War. I think there's some higher rates among enslaved people and in the South due to the hardship and disease like dysentery and things like that. But I mean, that's a huge number, 50,000. And to think that she was the only uh civilian casualty during the 3 days of the Battle of Gettysburg is that's pretty unique.
Right.
So she holds that distinction. Mary Virginia Wade was born on May 21st, 1843. She was the daughter of Mary Wade and her husband, James Wade. James was a tailor in Gettysburg, and his wife and children worked in his tailor shop. She had an older sister, Georgia, and then she had three younger brothers, Sam and Harry and John James. So there was another sibling, sister. She actually ended up dying when she was a baby, which, this is 1840s, 1850s. So
I mean, it's at
that's
least
not rare.
guaranteed. It's more rare that
Yeah,
more
infant
children
mortality
survive.
was exactly, exactly. I mean, and knowing that you actually had, you know, five five children survive, five of the six survive, that's actually pretty good. So they worked in, like I said, they worked in James's shop. When Jenny was younger, her father ended up getting arrested, and he was arrested for I think it was in Maryland. He was arrested and charged with theft. He was cheating. I think he was cheating his customers, from what it sounds like. And so he was arrested. He spent a couple years in jail. I'm sorry, I was arrested for larceny, convicted to spend 2 years in prison. He was 7 at the time, and after after his jail time, his wife then declared him insane. and he was sent to the almshouse in Gettysburg, which, the almshouse was a place for the destitute and the mentally ill. So,
Widowed, the orphan,
yeah. So,
crazy.
yeah,
Was a
I
they
mean, it
had good
was
intentions.
definitely, well, there has been some speculation as to, was he really crazy? Was she just getting rid of him? Because there had been stories, and I cannot confirm this, but there have been stories that maybe he was interested in little girl.
Mm.
So yeah, yeah, there was, and like I said, that's not confirmed. There was stories about that he
Girl,
was,
we all know how you handled that back then.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Arsenic.
yeah. I like it. I like it. But anyway, so, and actually, what's funny is while he was in the alms house, Mrs. Wade actually had her youngest son, which is curious. Yeah. That's, yes, she had Harry, or she conceived Harry, while her husband was locked away in the almshouse in Gettysburg. Now, did they have conjugal visits? Did she go? I don't know. But there were stories about the Wade women as well, because now they're on their own. Mrs. Wade is running her husband's shop, being the seamstress. Jenny's being the seamstress. Georgia, they're all working, and now they're, these three women without a man, um, to look
No.
after them. I know. Oh my gosh, I know that's so dangerous. Like, so, but yeah, so she conceived Harry while he was locked up. Anyway, so that was
Yeah,
kind of a story there, and then there had
I
also been
wouldn't
some
blame her.
yeah. Well,
I mean,
I
if your
mean,
husband is
if he is interested, and is interested in kids, and he's locked up, what are you going to do? Like, not live your life? I mean, seriously. But of course, that was a
right,
huge scandal.
and I mean, considering then that dildos were like wooden, I think
Mm. Mm, mm.
I'd risk pregnancy over a splinter.
Yeah, I'm cringing at that. Like, my thighs are like locked. But there's also rumors, as the girls got older as well, of male visitors at the house. Which, I mean,
No,
I know. Exactly. So, I mean, after Mr. Wade was sent to prison for 2 years, and after he went to the almshouse, their reputation really kind of plummeted. The Wade women. So yes, so the boys rented themselves out as well for labor. So Sam, when he was of age, he let's say this, apprenticed himself to James Pierce, who's Tilly Pierce's father. Tilly Pierce is another famous Gettysburg woman. He was a prominent butcher, Mr. Pierce, who lived a block away from their house. Jenny and Georgia, like I said, they often helped also with creation of and mending of carriage tops and things like that. And then Jenny and Georgia, of course, they all went to the same school, Gettysburg, one room schoolhouse. And it was there that she met Johnston Skelly, Jack Skelly, and her a good friend, Wesley Culp. Well, technically, John
Ellington.
Wesley Culp was his name. So Wes was a tailor. Let's see. So Jack also worked with the carriage companies and things like that. He was a stone cutter. And Wesley, as the three grew up, they became good friends. And Wesley eventually went south to Virginia with his employer, and that he apprenticed with another gentleman, and they went south. And then the war came, and Jack enlisted. Wesley remained in Virginia, and he joined the Confederacy, which, of course, his family was from Gettysburg, and they were not too happy that he joined the Confederacy. But
Don't blame him.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So Jack was 2 years older than Jenny. He was 20 when he enlisted. There has always been speculation that Jenny and Jack were more than just friends. There's always been rumor that they were boyfriend girlfriend. There are letters that actually that have been found, which are so cool. I went to Gettysburg the other year, and I got to see some of these letters. It was so neat. These actually were just recently found. So I was like, I love it. Some like new Jenny Wade stuff that, that actually talk about them being in a relationship. But for
Courting.
the longest time, there was speculation, like, are they together? Are they not? Were they engaged? Were they not? But I'm getting ahead of myself. So anyway, he enlists. Georgia gets married. She marries her sweetheart, her childhood sweetheart, John Lewis McClellan. And Lewis McClellan is the son of John McClellan. He is the owner of what is now the Gettysburg Hotel. So he was well known, prominent man in Gettysburg. Interesting note, he was a bachelor. Mr. McClellan actually never married Lewis's mother. But apparently the town looked aside and didn't, maybe because he was well known, prominent. I don't know. I guess if you have
Probably.
money and you're well known, you can do whatever you want. But if you're Jenny Wade or, you know, Mary, it's like, oh, seriously, the
Because he had a
hypocrisy is
penis.
exactly the hypocrisy is so disgusting. My God. But yeah, so of course, when Georgia marries, that takes her out of the house, and that leaves more work for Jenny and Mary in the shop because Georgia is no longer, she's a married woman now. She's no longer working in the shop. So they rent a house, her and her husband rent a house on Baltimore Street. John Lewis, her husband, he goes off to fight as well. Well, of course, she's pregnant. So, Jenny basically is, helping her mom in the shop. She's helping to take care of her sister. And her oldest brother, John, joins the army. And right before the Battle of Gettysburg in 1863. So Jenny is basically doing everything. She's helping her mom in the shop. She's taking care of her sister who is pregnant. And she's watching her two younger brothers, Sam and Harry. There has also been stories about whether or not, or I guess there have been stories about Jenny's patriotism as well. When the Confederate Army came to town in July of 1863, there was a confrontation between her brother Sam and Confederate troops. Apparently, Sam, who was about 11 years old at the time, um, the Confederates were trying to confiscate a horse that he had of Mr. Pierce's, his boss. Remember, he was an apprentice for Mr.
Mhm.
Pierce. And the men of the Confederates they captured both Sam and the horse, and they threatened to take Sam as prisoner of war. And Jenny saw what was going on, and she came to the defense of her brother. And Tilly Pierce, who was Mr. Pierce's daughter, who I had mentioned earlier, she recalled that Jenny was standing a short distance off and screamed at the top of her voice, "If the Rebs take our Sam, I don't know what I'll do with you folks." Tilly was aghast that Jenny would hold the Pierces responsible when it was clear when they could not control the outcome of the situation. And then she, I think, ended up sweet talking, from what I was reading. She ended up sweet talking the Confederates into
Mhm.
letting Sam go. So it was speculated that, where were her loyalties? And it was like,
Mhm.
well, they had her brother captive. Really? Are we really going to speculate that I mean, yes, because you're so close to the Maryland border, there were a lot of Confederate sympathizers around the Gettysburg area because it's southern PA. But,
Mason-Dixon line.
but you have to take into account that they were holding her brother captive. So, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm going to kiss ass and try to be nice and sweet and be all flirty if it's going to get my brother back from the Confederates. I mean, Jenny sewed her brother's Union uniform. She helped to sew his Union uniform so that he could go off and fight for the Army of the Potomac. And I'll discuss this later. She was, helping Union soldiers by, making them bread and food, and when they were outside of her sister's house. I mean, I really don't think one can question her patriotism. I think I would have done the same thing.
Right.
But anyway, so they did return Sam, and then he went up to Georgia's house to stay with Georgia, because Georgia, right at the beginning of the war, about a week or so before, had given birth to her son, Louis. So so that was like July 1st of 1863. On July 2nd, of course, battle's coming closer into town. It was in the outskirts, but now it's coming in closer. And a shell strikes the house where Georgia's living. And it literally blows a hole through the inside of the wall of her sister's house. And, Jenny is there, and Jenny has decided at this point in time that it was actually before, I guess it was July 1st, they decided to go up to Georgia's house because they felt that it would be a little bit safer at Georgia's house, which was kind of on the outskirts of town at that point in time. Since the battle seemed to be coming in closer to town, their house was right in the middle of town. They're like, you know what? We're gonna go up to Georgia's house. We're gonna stay with George, and we're gonna be safer up there. Well, that really didn't happen. Like I said, on July 2nd, the battle's getting closer and closer to town, and shells are a huge shell hit the house, second floor, burst a hole in the wall between Georgia's side of the house and the neighbor side of the house. They lived in a split house. The McLeans lived on one side, the McClellans lived on the other. So no one was hurt, but it did obviously tear a nice size hole into the wall. So Jenny continued to take care of her sister. She filled water pails and took them to the troops who were marching out around the houses. There are many soldier accounts that record her giving them biscuits and water, which they greatly appreciated. Once again, doesn't sound like she's a Confederate sympathizer. Sorry. That annoys me. Sorry. So on the evening on July 2nd, Annie Colt Myers, who lived with her husband on Middle Street, heard a knock at the door. Opening it, she was overjoyed to see her brother, Wesley, supporting the gray Confederate uniform. So Wes had served with the 2nd Virginia Infantry, which was part of the Stonewall Brigade, if you know Stonewall Jackson. He had slipped away from his
And
post
she
to
smacked him
go.
in the face.
Exactly. So he had slipped away from his post to go visit his sisters, Annie and Julia. So he mentioned that he saw Jack in Winston, Virginia, and that he was badly wounded in his arm. So Wesley told his sister that Jack had given him a message for Mrs. Skelly, but he didn't find her at home. When Annie asked to hear the message, Wesley was kind of hemming and hawing, like he was very circumspect. He said it was really only for Jack's mother, that only she could know. But unfortunately, the following morning on July 3rd, Wesley was killed without ever delivering his message.
See? Men.
Exactly. It's like, what? No. I mean,
You're in the middle of a fucking war.
exactly.
You're getting shot at with basically kind of like buckshot. And so you're
Exactly.
definitely going to get hit. By something. And if you
Exactly.
do get hit by something and you don't die, you're either going to die later.
Exactly.
Or you're going to be fucked up beyond repair.
It's like whatever happened to, hey, just in case, here's what it is. Don't look at it unless something happens to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I mean, to me, that's just common sense, It's just common sense.
Come on. I mean, he couldn't have written it down and been like, here's a,
Exactly.
give this to her.
Exactly. I mean,
but no. I'm the only secret keeper here.
Exactly.
Girl, I would have smacked him and been like, spit it out now or write it down right now. Not to mention you need to change your uniform, you dumbass.
Exactly. No. So anyway, yeah, who knows? So obviously there's been a lot of speculation as to what that missive said. What did it talk about Jenny? Did it say? So there's always been, thought too that maybe Jack had given him a message as well for Jenny. No one really knows what the message contained if Wes was given a message from Jack to Jenny, I mean, if he knew that Wes was going to be maybe going up to Pennsylvania, or knew that he was, why wouldn't he give a message to Jack, to Wesley,
Hmm.
or Jenny? I mean, it
Right.
just makes sense
Right.
because obviously, I
Yet
mean,
again,
he's
N.
exactly.
I mean,
So
I get it. His arm was hurt, but he could have dictated something. Put it
exactly.
down
I
on
mean, he
paper.
could exactly, exactly. So I know, I know. I mean, anyway, so throughout, like I said, it's crazy, crazy fighting going on around the house. Throughout the whole battle, like more than 150 bullets are hitting the house just on day one alone. Crazy fighting going around. So the morning of July 3rd, Wesley's killed in an early morning skirmish, unbeknownst to to anyone at the time, of course. And Jenny that morning decided to read from the Bible, and she's reading from the Bible with her family around, her brothers, her sister, the baby, her mom. And Jenny's last words to her mom, soon before she is shot, she says to her mom, "If anyone is to die today, I hope that it is me, as George has that baby."
Don't tempt fate.
Exactly. Now you have to understand,
This
I
is
mean,
speaking
bullets
it into
are
the universe.
exactly, exactly. Bullets are hitting this house. I mean, they're going through the bedposts, because George's bed was brought downstairs because I thought it would be safer and easier for her to be downstairs, in the parlor. Oh, I mean, bullets are like literally like going through the bedpost, landing on her pillows next to George's head. I mean, it is freaking crazy why they didn't just all go to the basement as soon as they come. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it is scary. I mean, I don't think I'd want to go outside, you know,
Yeah,
if bullets are
true.
flying. But I mean,
But I mean, they still would have to go to the bathroom outside.
exactly.
So
That's what I
why
mean.
not
That's what I'm
just come
thinking
out
too.
from
I
the
mean, like you have
basement?
chamber pots and stuff, but I'm like, I don't know. But so anyway, so it's about 8:03, a few minutes after 8. Um, well, it's 8 a.m. Jenny starts kneading some dough for bread because she's going to be making more bread for the soldiers that are around the house. And a few minutes after 8, a mini ball travels through the kitchen door and the parlor door of George's house and strikes Jenny in the back as she's kneading. Now, you remember, Jenny is like 5'4". I mean, because they're all short back then. I mean, I'm 5'10", and I'm like, and she's bent over. So when the bullet strikes her, it literally goes right and pierces her heart and gets stuck in her corset. And she falls to the floor instantly, dead. And I mean, I don't think there was even a sound because it happened so instantly. But Mary heard her fall, and she goes into the kitchen area, and she sees Jenny on the floor, and she walks calmly into the parlor, and she says to Georgia, "Your sister is dead." Just like that. So George ends
Calmly.
up screaming. George is screaming, and two Union soldiers are outside, and they hear Georgia screaming. And they come into the house, and they see Jenny lying on the floor, her blood soaking through the wood floorboards, dough still on her hands, on her fingers. And they knew obviously that, here was this woman who had been helping them and taking care of them, and now she's dead. So they decide to get the family to safety. But with, bullets flying at that side of the house, they don't know really what to do. So they decide to go up the stairs onto the second floor and go through. They break a bigger hole in the wall where the mortar went through, and they they take the family out the other side. Now, Mary Wade is not leaving her daughter. She's not leaving her daughter. She said, "I am not leaving her, Jenny." So one of the Union soldiers picks Jenny up, and they carry her dead body through the house, and they go out the other side, the McLean side of the house, and it's kind of facing away from the shooting. And they go into the McLean's basement because the McLeans, for some reason, they weren't there. I think honestly they were out. Is from what is what I remember. the story used to be that for some reason the McLeans were in the McClellan basement, which I was like, why did they switch basements? That makes no sense. But I
Mm-hmm.
think now what I was told was the McLeans were actually not at home during this time. So that's why they went into their side of the basement. It was obviously safer too because you don't have the Confederates firing at that side of the house. You have the Unions on that side, Union side.
Mm-hmm.
So they basically waited out the rest of the battle, the rest of that day in the basement. And Mary went back up, I think the next day, and made 15 loaves of bread from the dough that Jenny had used or was kneading when she was shot. So, and then Jack Skelly actually ended up dying several weeks later. So, no one really knew what Jack's message to his mom was, if he had a message for Jenny. No one really knew what his relationship was with Jenny. As I said, there's always been speculation. They were very good friends. Jack's family was never thrilled that he was friends with Jenny. I think it was because of the reputation of the Wades,
Right.
because of the reputation of her father, because of the reputation of the questionable reputation of the women. And,
Mm-hmm.
were there men sneaking into the house at night? But he continued to be friends with her. He continued to be with her, which, I loved, that he stuck with her. When President Lincoln came to Gettysburg in November and he did the Gettysburg Address, he actually had Georgia Wade sitting with him. He asked that she be with him, and so she was a part of the entourage on the stage that sat with Lincoln, which I thought was really cool. Um, so, like I said, in November of 1865, Jenny's remains were reburied. Of course, she had been buried temporarily in in the house, and then she was relocated in January of 1864. She was relocated to a cemetery at the German Reformed Church, which is where she was born. But then her final resting place is at the Evergreen Cemetery, and that became her final resting place in November of 1865. And that's actually where Jack is buried as well. He's buried not far from her. And in 1900, a monument was created by a Gettysburg resident, Anna Miller, and those are erected with an American flag that flies there around the clock. And of interest, the Betsy Ross House in Philadelphia is the only other site devoted to a woman to share this distinction of the perpetual flag, which I thought was really cool. And then, of course, John Burns's grave at Gettysburg also flies the perpetual flag, but this was a woman, So her and Betsy Ross, I thought that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it's the story of Jenny Wade is it's so tragic because here you have a woman who struggled, who fought, who against all odds. Her, she had to fight her whole life. Her father was arrested and separated from her at an early age, and she had to struggle her whole life. And she had to overcome, you know, heartache and grief and strife. And she was a survivor. She helped. So, her brother Sam was crippled, or Harry. Forget which one was one of her brothers was crippled, either Sam or Harry.
Mm.
So she helped to raise her younger brothers. She helps her mother in the shop. She's helping her sister. She's, baking bread for the Confederates, for Union soldiers. She's saving her brother from the Confederates. She's really this strong, powerful, force of nature. Um, and I don't think she was given enough credit when she was alive.
No. Right.
And now, of course, she's well known in the town of Gettysburg. And, there's, ghost tours that go through her house. And, there's regular tours that, well, her sister's house. And there's regular tours that go through as well. And there's been books and, articles and everything written about her, which is really cool. And of course, some of her items, like her purse, really cool. I'll send a picture of that so that you can, like, her purse was preserved, and a few of her articles, her personal articles were preserved. What I love is it's so morbid. I don't know why I like it, but it's the floorboard at the Jenny Wade house, which is, like I said, her sister's house, actually, the McClellan house, that is stained with her blood, is actually on display. And every time I'm there, I look at this because I don't know, it's powerful. It's moving to me because there have been people that have actually like wanted to touch it and like, get married with it like in sight. There's like some really weird, crazy, yeah. But I mean, it's so I don't know. It's so interesting to me to see this every single time, and I always take a few moments when I go there, and I look at this floorboard that is stained with her blood. I don't know.
Well,
It's there's something I can't describe it. Like it's so like heart wrenching, and it gets me every time, and it's just so I don't know. It's a deep thing for me. I have no idea why. I'm weird.
it's probably because it's still a connection.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's actually her
Yeah.
that's there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
besides the fact that, but we have so many things that you don't ever, it's still a way to connect to her person
Yeah, exactly.
because
It's
it's her
exactly what
blood.
it is. It's exactly what it is. Like, I mean, seeing her relics, like, her purse and things like that. I mean, that's interesting. I mean, that's like really cool. And I'd be, oh my God, even just seeing those things are really neat. But I don't know if the blood is just because it's her, it's actually her. It's actually her essence, I don't know. I love history so much, and just that tangible connection.
Well, it also makes it real
Yeah.
as well
Yeah.
because we
Yeah.
can't, a lot of history we cannot physically hold.
Exactly. Exactly.
And that we physically act, and a lot of things are like conjecture, like, oh, this is King Henry VIII's codpiece or something like that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you're like, is it really? Or,
Exactly.
because
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, you can speculate. There's a lot of speculation when it comes to history, like, oh, this is probably his because it had these details or this would, but yeah, because it's actually I mean, that makes it real. I mean, I've always talked about I'd love to like if they ever had like a time machine, like if we could ever like travel back in time, you know, because that's the only way that you're ever gonna get to like see what it was like and feel what it was like and smell the air if you want
bleh,
to smell the air. Because I mean, honestly, they didn't
no,
have flushable toilets back then, and they're like throwing their chamber pots out into the street, So I
yeah,
mean,
bleh. And
you
horses.
know. Well, the dead horses in
I've been
Gettysburg were a huge thing. Yeah, the dead horses. I mean, that smell
well, not
lasted
only
a
the,
long time.
but also horse droppings too. I mean,
Yeah,
those road
yeah.
apples.
Oh yeah, yeah. And also, I mean, like they didn't like bathe all that often. I mean, they're using like
Mm-mm.
oils and things to help with so they're not like offending people. But it's like still. I mean, you're not bathing or showering. There's no deodorant. I mean, yeah. So I mean, and I it would
As
be
long as you
interesting.
can take away the
Yeah. Well,
repugnant smells.
that's why you had like that's why women had the handkerchiefs that were scented, so they could hold the handkerchiefs up to their noses so they could politely smell something other than either themselves or the people they were talking to.
But
That's sexy. That's hot. Yeah.
masking.
God. Exactly. I've had to do that a couple times. Why people don't take care of themselves, oh, that's another story.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, so I mean, it was definitely I mean, I can't imagine can you imagine being in that basement? I mean, when the soldier brought Jenny down, he put her like, he laid her down, they covered her. But I mean, you're in the basement, your mom, it's if you're Georgia, whatever, it's you, your mom. your baby, and your dead sister. And the battle's raging up around you. And you're in there, you're down in that basement, for what seems probably like an eternity. I mean, and that just, it's so tragic. And it was dumb luck too, because honestly, no one really knows who fired the shot that killed Jenny. There's speculation that it was a Confederate sharpshooter who was, trying to get trajectory. So they were like aiming like at the door handle, at the doorknob, and they wanted to see, how far the wind would throw off their bullet.
Again, men.
Exactly.
Seriously?
Like let's
You
aim at a
couldn't
freaking
shoot
house.
at a fence post?
Yeah, or a tree for goodness sakes. Or, why at a house, at a door? I mean, yeah. There's speculation, they think it came from around the Farnsworth house, which was obviously, present in Gettysburg at the time. And they are thinking that he was maybe like on the third floor because there were sharpshooters around that area because the Union Army was out past George's house. So George's house was really right in the middle of the battle. Yeah, let's live there. I mean, I get why they went there. I do. I mean, they were thinking, that the army's coming into the town, like British are coming into the town. We don't want to be here. I get it. I do. But they ended up going to the worst place ever.
Well, that and also, isn't the White House haunted as well? I
That's
know
yes, yes.
I
I was
saw
actually
something when
there.
we went.
Yeah, I did. I went one of the times I went there. I did see something as well. It was actually the only time I ever really saw something. Well, knew that I saw something, and it was I was with a friend of mine, and we were there on a school trip, and I wanted to show her the Jenny Wade house because it was I every time I went there, well, I took friends to share the Jenny Wade experience. And we're walking up to the house, and I see a hand move the curtain aside in the parlor, like someone's looking out. And I was like, oh, shit, there's someone in the house. There's a tour group because we didn't have a whole lot of time.
Hmm.
We were kind of given, a certain amount of time because it was with our school trip. It was at the school. And we were given a certain amount of free time on our own. And we had to get back to the meeting spot. Um, and I thought, if there's a tour group in there, we're never going to be able to get in. But I said, "Oh, let's go in, we'll check it out and we'll see, hopefully." And we went into the lobby of the gift shop area, and I said, how long till we can get in?" And she said, behind the desk, she's like, "Oh, you can get in now. There's no one in the house." And I was like, "Okay." So that kind of really scared me because I was like, I know I saw someone in the house. I saw the curtain move. I saw like and thinking more about it, it looked more like a cuffed sleeve. It looked more like a long sleeve. And it was towards the end of the year. Well, towards the beginning of the year, but end of the school year. So like April, May. And I mean, we're in short sleeves, but it didn't really occur to me until after she said that there was no one in the house, that I remembered the hand that moved the curtain had a long sleeve. And it looked like it was cuffed, like, it looked like it came down to the wrist, which their dresses would have come
Especially
down
in
to the
November.
sleeve.
Or
Well,
especially then.
even
Yeah.
well, yeah, I mean, it didn't matter. I mean, it didn't matter if it was July and 100-degree heat or December and it was, like, 0. They wore long sleeved. It was cuff sleeves. They didn't wear short sleeves unless it was, like, ball gowns or something like that, and that was evening wear. So, yeah, when Christine and I then went through the house that day, I was on edge, needless to say. I was, like, looking around, taking pictures, and our cameras weren't working that well that day either, or at least Christine's wasn't. Mine, I think, was working okay, but Christine's camera wasn't working too well. So,
See,
that was
mine
fun.
happened down in the basement.
Mm.
I don't know. Part of me thinks it's just pareidolia but I don't think it is, just from the feeling that I got on it. But, as they were explaining about how they were down there in the, in that part of the tour, I saw, because when we went, they had, like, the mannequin there,
Yep.
and
With
that was
the
covered up.
hands that strop. Yeah, that's like, yeah.
Yes. But I saw the hand come up, and it was kind of like it was being held, and then it dropped back down. And then I saw a wisp of something go, like, shoot up into the ceiling. And I wonder if it could have been her mother, possibly, like, holding her daughter's hand, you know.
They say that her dad is there.
That doesn't make
I don't
sense.
know how they have decided who's who. I think there was a medium there at one point in time who felt that it was her father. That James was, because remember, he was he was locked up in the almshouse when she was killed.
Mhm.
And so he
Right.
never really got to say goodbye.
Mhm.
He never really got to say to be there to visit her, to whatever. And I think a medium was there, and she was getting the name James. And at the time, there was a chain that was there, kind of separating the area where people can come in, and the tourists can come in and stand,
Mhm.
from where her, quote unquote body is, the mannequin.
Right.
And at the time, the chain, and I read this in Cindy Small's book, and I always get like goosebumps when I when I think of it. When the medium was like, James, the chain swung. Not like someone had like touched it from like one point, but like it swung in one motion
Mhm.
and then just stopped. Like, it was really eerie, really eerie. If anyone has interest though in Jenny Wade, I really recommend getting Cindy Small's book, because she is the person who has done, I think, probably some of the most history and the most research on Jenny. And she actually I just got an updated copy of it a few years ago, because she added some things, some additions. And it's the most detailed work. And I think, like I said, I don't remember if they updated her book in regards to James and the questionable details about his,
Life.
fancies of children, things like, But I think she did discuss it she does sessions like with the public. And I think it was discussed there that there were questions about his fancies of young girls. But yeah, so I did a ghost tour of Jenny Wade House just recently. I did it with the kids. Aria was too scared. She did not want to go in. Even though she loves Halloween and loves, what got her was one of the kids felt sick. He felt nauseous. So it wasn't her fear of ghosts, it was her fear of vomit that hindered her from being able to join us in the ghost tour. But
I get that.
yeah, but it was really neat because there were some things there that we questioned. Like my mom in the basement, I was sitting behind my mom. My mom was sitting in front of me. Tyrion was sitting next to her. And there was no one behind me, no one beside me. And my mom said she felt someone touch her shoulder. So she thought it was me. And we were sitting next to the wall where the mural was, or is. The mural that was painted of, what the scene would have looked like back then, with Georgia sitting, in a rocking chair holding her baby and the soldiers and Jenny's body.
Mhm.
And my mom was like, "Did you touch me?" And I said, "No." And of course, this freaked Tyrion out. And I was kind of like looking to my side because, I mean, obviously there was no one there. And I know no one reached past me to touch my mom. But she said she felt like a hand or a touch in her shoulder. And the the ghost, the tourist, the tour guide who was taking us through, she had those balls that light up,
Mhm.
like those cat balls kind of thing.
Mhm.
where they don't light up unless someone touches them. And so she turned it on, and she's like, just so you can see this, she touched, she touched it, it lit up. She put it down, and then she put one on the opposite side of her, and then she also had some kind of device. And we're sitting there, and she's talking about, the ghosts and what happened, and then, the ghost story, and the balls would light up, and it was eerie. It was eerie.
Mm.
Mm. And then, of course, with mom saying that someone touched her. And so they, like I said, they feel like, James is in the basement, that he stays there. They don't, the tour guide said that she doesn't feel like it's Jenny that's actually there at the house that's haunting.
Mm-hmm.
She thinks it's Georgia, the
Mm.
sister. She said, I think it's Georgia because she was so devastated and so traumatized by what happened that if anyone's there, that it's probably Georgia.
Right.
Which, I mean, that would make sense too. I mean, if Jenny was killed instantly, maybe she didn't even, I mean, maybe, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the whole ghost, speculation with ghosts is, like if someone dies traumatically. I heard that, spirits can remain because they don't know they're dead, they don't realize they're dead, you know. So I was like, "Oh, I guess it could be Georgia, but really, I mean, if she died like instantly, maybe her spirit was left behind because she doesn't know she's dead. She didn't know that, like, oh my God, I was shot. What, I don't know. But I want to take a few minutes to talk about the legend of
Right.
the hole in the door.
Sure.
So that's we have to do that. So I had talked a little bit about people wanting to get married in the Jenny Wade house, which I don't know if I would really actually want to do that because it is a little morbid, you know.
And it's small.
It is small. I mean, I love, as much as I love Jenny Wade, I would love to be a tour guide there. I would love to be alone in that house, even though it would freak the crap out of me. And I don't think I could do it. I think I actually have been alone in that house. I don't, I could, it was eerie. I could never be there at night. Never be there at night. Oh my God. Anyway, people have wanted to get married there. And there is a legend that if you stick your ring finger through the hole in the door, the bullet hole, you will be married or you'll get engaged in what, a year, Sheena? I think
Something
it's a
like
year, like
that.
within the next couple years or something, that you'll get
Mm-hmm.
engaged. And
Guess what,
there was like
suckers?
there was like testimonies, there used to be, I don't think they're there anymore, but there used to be like testimonies like on the door, like saying like, oh, I stuck my ring finger through the bullet hole. And this was in the front door, I think, in the front door of the house. I stuck my finger through the ice, or and I guess it was through the parlor door, that the second door that had the bullet went through. And yeah, there was like, testimonies like, oh, I stuck my ring finger through the door and I got my boyfriend proposed to me, yada yada. Now, you know, how many people have probably done this at all ages? And did it happen? I mean, I think Sheena is like, the best judge of this here. And she
I
did it.
have yet to be engaged to anybody.
Or
And
get a
I stuck my
proposal.
finger in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
And I mean, I did too at a young age. I mean, and I got married, what, 20, 25. So, yeah. But yeah. So I mean, it's a fun little, myth and legend that, if you stick your ring finger. But yeah, and there's been speculation that, that Jenny's ghost lingers, because of her long lost love for Jack, and like, she was, and there, but who knows? But there have been songs written about, Jenny, and just, yeah, it's a beautiful story, but it's so tragic. It just leaves you with questions, like, did Jack and Jenny love each other? Were they secretly engaged? No one will ever know because they died with their secrets.
yep. Well, they know now. They're probably together now, so.
And that's comforting to me. If their spirits are not roaming battlefields or, houses, hopefully they're together and hopefully, yeah.
All right. Well, brava, brava, brought back. I learned a lot of things that I didn't either I remembered or that I didn't remember at all from going. And so for your next episode, guess what you get?
Yes. Ooh, what?
Free space.
Free
So you
space.
can
Oh
do
my gosh.
anything you
Okay.
want.
Holy smokes. Okay. Sweet.
Anything you want.
Oh
Yeah.
Lord, I don't know what I want to do. I have to think about that. Well,
Oh,
hey,
well,
if
you've got 2 weeks.
yeah, and if anyone wants to, write in and say, hey, have some great ideas or, please feel free to let me know what you want to hear. I'd love to do research and look up whatever topic you want and talk about it. And so if you think of something, please let me know, whether it's history or fun facts, random facts, weird stuff, myths, legends, true crime, whatever you want to talk about or what I want me to talk about. Please feel free to reach out and let us know. There are so many ways to reach out to us. Yeah, there's email. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. What else? Facebook, Instagram, email. There's so many ways to reach out to us.
We have TikTok now. I'm
Woohoo, TikTok.
trying to get that up and going.
Okay.
So yeah, we've got the Facebook, email. You can Instagram us,
Yeah.
TikTok, and you can listen to us on YouTube and
Spotify.
iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Can't think of anything else right now.
But yeah, I mean, there's tons of ways to reach out to us. Please reach out to us. We want to hear from you. We want your thoughts, your opinions. If we want to hear it all.
We want your
So
stories too.
exactly. We want your stories, your experiences, your friends' stories, your friends' experiences. Let us know. We want to hear from you.
Yeah, did you guys
We
see
want to tell your
anything at the
stories.
Jenny Wade house? If you've gone,
If you guys are gone, I'd love to hear if you have stories, ghost stories, thoughts, feelings, impressions. We want to hear it for sure. My son, when we were there for the ghost tours, he took a lot of pictures because it was recommended that you take a series of 3 pictures at a time to just
Mhm.
make sure that, and he saw like, we got lots of orbs and weird things going on. And we used the machine, that shows like, like the temperature changes or whatever, and
Mhm.
there were areas, I forget what they're called. And there were certain
EMF
areas that like
detectors.
really, yes, they really lit up and like that freaked Tyrion out. He loved it. And yeah. So I still have tons of those pictures. And there's one picture that came out really freaky on my phone. And I was like, oh, that's weird. But yeah, I mean, we'd love to hear your stories, your impressions, like what you guys experienced. If you experienced anything, or it doesn't have to be the Jenny Wade house. It could be anywhere. But yeah, let us know.
Yeah. Also, we want to introduce to you that we are doing a fun little extra that we get to do every week. We are watching Supernatural. Sarah is brand new to to
Supernatural
the
world, yeah.
lore. Yeah, the supernatural world. We just recorded our first episode about it, about the pilot, and it's going to be fun. We're going to be calling it Carry On. You don't know yet, or you don't know why yet.
Yep. Yep.
And so, and of course, this is my safety blanket show besides Buffy and Angel.
Hmm.
And, and Sarah's getting to see it all with brand new eyes. And so
Yep. It's exciting. It's exciting.
we're
It's
going to
exciting.
debut that first episode. We're going to debut it on Thursday and hopefully have it out every Thursday after that, barring any emergencies that come up.
Yep. Yep.
So keep an eye out for that. And next week is my turn. And
Yeah.
it's true
True
crime.
crime. Yes, I'm
It is
excited to hear.
it is a well-known story that once I mention it, everybody will know and go, "Oh yeah." So that's my little teaser for that.
Yeah, yeah, but you're not gonna tell us.
No,
Anger.
I'm not.
Make us suffer, make us wait. All right, I get it.
Of course. All right. Well,
Well, thank you everybody for joining us. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed learning about Jenny Wade, Mary Virginia Wade. If if you already knew about her, maybe you learned something new, or maybe it was just fun, memory lane type thing. But I'm glad you could join us. Thank you so much for listening and for you know being a part of our growing family. We love you guys, and just thank you so much.
and we will see you next week. Thanks, guys. Love you.
I love you guys. Thank you.